like to move to open the town board meeting for Thursday, January 23rd. Please rise and we'll salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence for our troops worldwide. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town clerk, and also the door that you came in. Roll call, please.
Councilman Delango?
Here.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger? Here. Councilwoman Doyle?
Here.
Councilman Perotti?
Here.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Here. Public comment?
Hi, Gabe Napoleon, Town of Kent. I work for the Millerton News, and I want to acknowledge a mistake that I made in an article that was published today on last board meeting's discussion. The article is Resident Questions Urgency of Water Violation, and the mistake revolves around a quote, which I misquoted Kevin Casone. The statement was supposed to read, Gretchen and I, the statement was supposed to be, I honestly think this is because Gretchen and I took a position against that law. And despite listening to the recording over again, I somehow misheard it and misquoted him saying something very rude. The correction has been made online, and we'll be running a correction next week. So I just wanted to say that I feel bad for misrepresenting someone. As a new reporter, I strive to be objective, and I've learned a lesson here to always double check and have someone else double check for a second listen. And I just feel awful that that lesson was learned at someone else's expense. So sorry to Kevin and to Gretchen. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Myrnie?
I try to do things in a timely fashion, but I took time out to get sick, so we have to go back a little bit, if I may.
Okay.
In October, I believe, at the town board meeting, it might have been November, first meeting of the month, but I think it was October. I was listening to it at home, and there was some question about someone not paying their water bill. So I'm asking how many water districts we have in town. Is there more than one that one would be paying a water bill to?
No, there's only one.
So anyone on the tax rolls that says they get community water would be paying you, would they not?
Anybody who's in the water district and has a meter or a physical hookup to the water main would be paying a service connection fee.
Okay, my next question is, who would I send a FOIL to find out who is paying and who is not? Because I've heard different people say they get the runaround when they send a FOIL to town hall. They will be told you didn't address it to the proper person or whatever. So who's the proper person I would send a FOIL to if I wanted to know whether or not the water tax has been paid, and if not, is there a lien on their property?
That would be to the town clerk.
You? Okay. Thank you very much.
Mike Collins?
Michael Collins, Amenia. Congratulations to new board members. I hope you can spend some time addressing quality of life issues in Amenia, and maybe hold off in the blind pursuit of grants. That being said, there are currently at least 2 convicted sex offenders living a very short distance from here, and maybe you guys can discuss it with yourselves, whether you could notify town residents, people that live nearby, put something on the public access channel, whatever. I'm here for a different subject. Several months ago, I overheard a conversation where it was said that planning board member Tony Robustelli commented about lighting or signage on the new deli. I thought to myself that it was likely unfair because he's partial owner of a property that has a deli. Furthermore, I thought that he should not be responsible for making decisions regarding other people's property, when, as noted previously, he has an apparent disregard for his own. This prompted me to look through the planning board minutes, and I was unable to find any comments regarding the new deli. However, I did find that he commented about Cumberland Farms. While he partially owns a property at 3997 Route 22, upon which Cousins is located. Cousins is a gas station, mini-mart convenience store, as is Cumberland Farms. Why he did not abstain from that is open to speculation. He also motioned to deem a site plan application complete for a former business partner, and commented on other things regarding a former business partner. He also commented regarding the Wasaic project sign, yet there is not a single permit on file for multiple signs located on his property. You do need a permit to erect a sign, right?
We have to follow our sign law that we have in our
All these signs are
zoning.
relatively new. The master plan was put into effect in '07, is that correct?
Yes.
I'd say they're all newer than that. And there are 2, 4 of those. I'd say there's at least 6 signs. I believe his failure to abstain from these issues affects the integrity of Amenia's planning board and the town itself. And I ask that the town board take immediate action to determine whether the code of ethics was violated and whether he should remain on the planning board. This is all copied and pasted from the planning board minutes. I did not do anything with this, and this is a foil for the records for the sign permits, and there are none. So please look that over and do something about it. On a good note, winter's halfway over. Thank you.
That's all we have for sign comments.
Town clerk report.
Good evening. I'd like to let everyone know that your tax bills have been mailed out. Tax bills are due to the town clerk's office on or before February 28th without penalty. If you have not received your town tax bill by the end of this week, feel free to give Patty or myself a phone call. If you've had any changes with your banks, if you're no longer in escrow, or if you now are and you want to just make sure that we have the correct information, you're also welcome to call the office Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2, to discuss your taxes. I have some disappointing news for our hunters. Currently, our DEC program is not online. New York State has initiated a new program, and I think every time we know when there's new computers and new programs, there's kinks out there, and unfortunately at this time the town of Amenia is not able to issue any of your small game hunting permits or fishing or anything that has to do with DEC. I am working with DEC to try to get that up and running. They do require a new contract signed every year, so this will be up and going as soon as possible. Also at this time, I need to notify the town board that I am in receipt of resignations from 3 positions. I've received Larry Moore's resignation from the planning board, Sherry Johnson as our town bookkeeper, and Lisa Luce as our account recs for the bookkeeper. And that's my report for this evening.
Okay, I believe what we need to do is advertise for those positions.
Okay, I can go ahead and do so, so it'll run in the January 30th newspaper. I'll have the ad out to the news.
One thing I wanted to talk about with the board before we actually send out the advertisement, I was wondering what they thought about separating two positions. Currently, historically, the bookkeeper has always held the water treasurer position. And I would rather, I think it would be more efficient to move that position away from the bookkeeper so the bookkeeper isn't answering questions about water. So it would be a separate position where someone would actually be here, you know, during the week, take the water district payments, record them, you know, on the accounts, and, you know, and also take the payments to the bank.
Is that a separate salaried position
Yes, it
anyway?
is.
So she was receiving separate, so I don't think that's a problem.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. I just thought it would,
I thought because it was a separate line item that it is, I mean, it's one person holding the same job, but it is two separate jobs.
It can go whichever way, so it could be advertised as,
yeah.
you know, that whatever candidate
As-
meets those qualifications best.
Okay, it would be a part-time position, and that way, you know, it would be, you know, nice to have someone here who just did that, rather than have the bookkeeper position, you know, the bookkeeper and the bookkeeper position being, you know, interrupted with water issues.
Well, the bookkeeper is part-time, right?
Right.
Bookkeeper position is part-time. I mean, it
Both
might
positions are.
relieve a little bit of pressure off the bookkeeper to do the bookkeeping and not deal with the water department. Might be a little more efficient having two separate positions.
You know, that's what I was thinking, so I'd like to advertise that one separately, if that's all right with the rest of the board. And I believe there's 3 positions that we haven't advertised yet, or 4, because we need to advertise for planning
So we're
board.
going to advertise for the planning board, the bookkeeper, the, she's going to need her bank recs, and then the water district treasurer. And also, we're going to add in there recreation, the assistant
Part-time,
groundskeeper.
yeah. 20 hours, right?
Right.
It was a 20-hour position.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was in the budget for.
Now, is the board going to be involved in the interviews?
Absolutely. And for the planning board interviews, we usually have the chair of the planning board also join us.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to advertise it. I'll have it placed in the paper. It can run as early as the, you know, you'll see it on the 6th. And then applications will be due February 12th, because you meet on the 13th, and then on the 13th I can give you all of the applications that have come in, so you can then tell me you want to schedule interviews? Or do you want to pick a time now?
No, we'll wait and see what we got. And actually, I'd rather have them by the 10th, to have that day in between.
The Monday?
Mhm.
So then Monday at noon thereafter, I'll send you guys an email out as to how many and whom we have.
And then we can schedule.
You guys plan it from there.
Highway department report. Stan isn't here. Building department
Do you
report.
know how the work he was doing with the 2 roads he was working on last time? Do you know how that went?
What roads? The ones that were closed?
Yeah.
I think he put stone on those roads, and then they were opened. They're not closed. They haven't been closed for some time. Yeah.
That's true. Good. Thank you.
Building department report. I have to make a correction from the last board meeting. We read into the minutes the monthly building department report. We read in a total of $2,758.40. It should have been, the correct amount should have been $2,958.40. It wasn't an issue with the bookkeeping, it was an issue with just an addition on the memo that I read. So it wasn't a problem with accounting or anything, it was just the memo that I read. I didn't pick up on the addition problem. Our new report from the building department, from John Fenton, referencing the town hall's boiler. Dear Board, on November 20th, 2013, the town was requested from the Hartford Steam Boiler Inspection and Insurance Company to repair deficiencies on our primary boiler and decommission the non-working secondary boiler. These requirements had to be satisfactorily completed in order to receive a certificate of operation. The town also received in early November a failed report from a third-party backflow preventer inspection company indicated that the town hall's backflow preventer was malfunctioning and was installed in an incorrect location. Earlier this month, John Scott was requested to repair the town hall's backflow preventer and all the deficiencies in our primary boiler and decommission our secondary boiler. All work has been completed and the reinspection of our backflow preventer has been performed with a passing report. The boilers are scheduled to be inspected towards the end of February. Finally, one last piece of business. There is an attached draft of a proposed zoning amendment to address the outdoor sales and display areas. The building department wants this submitted to the board and to the attorney for review. And that's it. Respectfully, John Fenton, Town of Amenia, Building Zoning Administrator.
Okay, we don't have a grant report, because Mike isn't here tonight. Water?
All right, I gave, I don't know if you all received copies of reports. I sent it, I didn't have everybody's emails to send them to. I think I need to get Mike, I need to get your email. Did you get it? I asked to have them forwarded.
I actually got it in my mailbox.
Perfect.
It was
Okay,
about
good.
the service on the generator.
No, that's another thing too. Thank you for bringing that up though, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let's start off with the December numbers. We used approximately 2,700,000 gallons of water. We pumped into distribution. Average daily flow 89,000. We had one day as 141,000 as a maximum flow. That one day was the day that we had the water main break, 6-inch main up on Depot Hill. For the system, averaged about a 20,000 gallon per day loss because of that break. We had 2 coliform samples taken, both passed, no problems. This quarter, going into the beginning of January, we ordered, like we do every year, sodium hypochlorite. We did the Q4 readings for the water billing, cleaned the injectors at all the pump houses at the entry points, turned off the cathodic protection for the winter on the storage tank that's done every year. On the meter reads, we had 15 bad reads, either radio or meter related, and 13 continuous leaks. Mike brought up about the generators. The generators annually, we do our generators with the fire department, so we can get a discount. We've combined them all to get serviced around the same time. So May, I believe, gave copies of everybody of the generator service contract.
Yeah, that's one of the contracts I'm going to ask the board to allow me to renew.
Perfect. The suggestion from the committee was level 1 service contract to be done on the water department's generators because they're actually used a little more often and exercised. They also have been run during power outages. Level 1 is a little more detailed where they change all the fluids and everything, make sure it's always going to function properly. We've never had a problem with it. I'd recommend level 2 for the fire departments. They're functioning properly, but again, they don't kick on as much as the water departments would be. But they are functioning and they will get service. The only difference is basically their fluids will get changed every other year. Last year it was changed. This year we're going to say we're going to bypass it until next year. Cross connection was brought up for the town hall. That was in compliance as of this month, so everything's okay there. And we do have one violation right now with our water system, and that was brought up last town board meeting. Any questions?
The 20,000 gallon a day loss, how many days?
That would have been, I can't tell you when the water leak
Can't
started,
tell.
only when it comes to the surface. So I can only tell you that usage went up that morning, so that break probably happened that day when we had the cold snap. It happened, so that 20,000 just averages out for over the 30 days.
Continuous leaks, 13 continuous leaks.
That's when we do more water meter reads. We have the ability on those water meters to tell us when there's something running in a house or apartment or business.
So it's in the building where the leak is, it's not in the mains.
Correct, correct. The continuous leaks are highlighted on the meter itself. There is an indicator on there. It notifies us that there is a continuous leak. Could be a toilet running, which is mostly the case, or a faucet dripping. It can be something as small as 1 drip per minute.
Are the residents notified?
And the residents are notified with letters, yes.
One more thing, Marco. The service on the generator.
Yep.
Level 1, level 2. This service is a one-shot deal. They come once.
They actually come once a year to do the level 1 service. The level 2 service will come once a year.
Okay.
Unless there's something that's wrong that they need to. Like one time we had to come back for a failed heater.
All right, so the agreement that we're signing in now, it's from February 14, so it is 1 year. Okay.
Yep.
In order to save money on the generators, the town is responsible for the generators of both fire departments. So in order to save money on the service, we put the water department generator on the same contract with the 2 fire department generators.
So they come one time instead of hitting us for service charges to come different times.
But I mean, the contract for the level 1 service that you wanted on the water, it's, $285, estimated parts $140, but that's just once during the year.
That's it. Any other questions?
Yeah, Marco, you had asked previously, like months ago, that there might have been some problem where you weren't able to get paid based upon, like, it was not in your contract specifically for work and everything. And Mike had asked for a copy of your contract so we could all take a look. I just want to make sure, that you're able to get paid for everything that you're doing for us, because I know a lot of it isn't a specific, it like ends up under hourly, and I just want to...
Right. And basically what the contract states is that you pay me for operations of the water system.
Right.
To make sure that I do your testing, make sure I do your checks on the water system, and that's what a licensed operator does. And that's what you need to have done every day, and that's what you need to have for the license. Anything above and beyond that, the emergency calls, water breaks, anything like that, would be an additional charge, and that always has been that way. There's never been a problem with that. I never have charged for reading meters. I've never charged for...
Well, you did have the charges for meter readings.
I had a charge for meter readings when Bill was in office because it
Yeah.
was not my contract, and it was never paid to me. It was asked to be withdrawn, and that was the board, and you were on the board, and Vicki Doyle asked to have this withdrawn if things went back to the way they were. And that was the agreement from the board, so it was withdrawn. I was never paid.
Okay.
I was never paid for meter reads. I was never paid to do billing, to help assist with billing. So it's been that way for the past several years, and that's the way it's going to continue. So I'm not filing any fees for that service. I don't file any additional fees for the water committee for coming to this meeting, presenting. It's anything above and beyond. Now, the meters, of course, have been an ongoing issue with replacements. Neptune is services. I should say reliability on the meters is not the best. Fortunate for us, everything is done under warranty, so we do get replacement meters. I've been working with them.
How long is the warranty for the meters?
25 years.
Oh, good.
So, I've been working with with Neptune directly on trying to get us reimbursed for labor. And that's been an ongoing battle with them. I've been working for the past almost 8 months now. And Tie Sales has been assisting with that, who we purchased the meters from. So they've been very helpful with that support. Unfortunately, working with Neptune directly, they're not as receptive to opening up and reimbursing us because it was never in a contract. But there has been known problems with these meters. And we continually have problems. Again, we have 15 this quarter. That's been really high. I don't know if it's because of the weather, but that's a lot of meters. Last quarter we had, I think, 5 or 6, 7, something like that. Not a lot. This quarter doubled. So I hope next quarter doesn't continue to have that trend. I mean, we replaced almost every meter in this town. The radios do go bad. They have batteries in them. They do become faulty. And to restart those radios can be as simple as reactivating them again or just replacing them. And we've done that too, but they're not as big as an issue as the regular meters themselves. And I can tell when I do a meter read what failed, either the radio or the meter. I can tell because I'll get an error code that tells me what the problem is.
Were you able to get all of the frequencies like back in order with all the accounts? Because I know some of them that were out of order, which was causing a problem with the billing.
The order I don't think was the problem. The problem was we weren't able to look at the raw data. Now we can. Last quarter was the first quarter we could do that. So now we can actually look at the raw data, and if there's any conflicts with the raw data versus the billing, we'll be able to check the raw data against it to verify if the bill is correct or not, if there's a good read or a bad read compared to an estimate or a previous billing issue. I'll be able to look at raw data right away.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we go on to contracts, I believe we have a resolution for the construction change order. Oh, I did. I had one more. Sorry.
Ellen O'Connell, Recreation. We had our first reorg meeting in January. We discussed a few little things that are coming up now. Before baseball is the movie night at the first Friday of every month. And we discussed the Easter egg hunt, which we're already started on that. And we had elections, and we elected a new chairman. So I would like to thank Christine Ford for all the hard work she did for the last 2 years. And the next 2 will be by Chris Kringer. So I'm going to turn it over to him. He's our new chairman.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody?
Good, thanks.
Well, I didn't think I was going to make it tonight, but fortunately I was able to sneak in. Like they said, they did have a meeting. You know, we're going to try to work on the future. Maybe we can work with you guys hand in hand more often than not. And it's nice seeing you, and nice new board, and hopefully we can do what we need. What's that? Yeah. What was that, Frankie? Yes, we did change our meeting dates to the last Wednesday of the month, which will work for most of us now, since a lot of us were busy on Tuesdays.
So that's the 26th of February at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
6 o'clock?
Yeah.
And I know we sent some emails around, and look forward to trying to take care of anything else that we can, and looking forward to a lot of new programs, I hope. We have a new member, Larissa, and I can't wait. I'm pretty excited. You guys have any questions, or? No? Excellent. This is how I like it.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, go ahead, Arlene. No, you're on.
Arlene Uliano, town historian. Congratulations to those of you who are new to this scene or have changed your role. Anyway, I'd like to thank Mary Millette at this point for the help she gave me. I understand she's not with us anymore. And especially, and I'll mention her again, and Sherry. Sorry to see her go. I didn't have any problems with her, but then, anyway, as town historian, I thought I'd be a little more explanatory here for the new members, whether you want it or not, okay, so to speak, but I'll tell you a little bit about my role. And first, as a town board and as a town historian, there are membership in certain groups that county, state, wide that I have pay membership to through my budget line, which means you all in the whole town is a part of the membership of the particular associations. One of them is the Association of Public Historians of New York State, which I have a form here which has to be filled out every year and has a fee. And this is something that this association wants the town to do, not me send a check in and be reimbursed, that kind of a situation with that particular organization. The other organizations that we belong to, which are the Archives and the National Historic Organization and Dutchess County Historical Society, I usually send in the dues that they require, and then I get reimbursed. In other words, I use my line. But for this particular membership, Association of Public Historians of New York State would like you all to do this, not me. So since it's a new, I don't know how you want me to handle this.
You want to just give it to me?
Leave it with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you want me to do that right now? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
She's got her checkbook right there.
Figure out how many people want to do it.
We're done.
Whatever they're doing.
There we go.
I have no problem.
Consider it done.
But you will see when I submit voucher that there are membership dues to other organizations, and there are benefits. You can to those organizations. Sometimes it's just being a member. You may get reduced rates in certain activities that they have. Can attend certain activities. And this was recommended to me to do this, to join these organizations as a town historian by Arlene Pedersen, who was a former historian. And that's what I'm following through. But that doesn't mean you want to do that. So I don't know if you want to continue these particular memberships, which I'm really not explaining in real great detail. But we do get magazines from the archives, and you'll see them out in my display area that I took over, so to speak, in the hallway. So you want to think about that, or you want me to talk to you more directly? You want to forget it? You want me to give you?
Do you want me to just let me know what the memberships are?
Yeah.
Okay.
The correct names.
Yeah, that would be fine.
So that I'm not, okay, so then you can decide, because you don't have to, even if we don't have to belong to them.
The names and the cost?
Pardon?
When we spoke about this during the budget time, I do recall going through them.
Now, when I
They
haven't,
did have
right,
value to them.
I have an annual report here, which I have to submit to the Association of Public Historians, New York State, the county, and I submit one here.
Mm-hmm.
For the town supervisors, the town of Amenia's report, I usually attach a summary of the expenses, my expenses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that for the state or the county.
Okay.
Or the town clerk who says I'm supposed to give her these papers so I can be
Official.
Now you're in the
book.
right.
You just made the minutes.
All right, I'll let you know. I can either leave a note, write it up,
Yeah, just
whatever,
give
and
me
leave it with.
just list them all, and
Yeah.
what the cost,
Well-
and exactly what they are, so we know.
Yeah, right, because you're a different board, and you may not want, not follow through that. But that was, I followed through on Arlene Pedersen. She was a
Right,
great
and then we could
historian.
discuss
She
them,
was
yeah.
extra qualified. I mean, she had all the college courses and everything. Or I can't say that. Huh?
You're doing a great job, Arlene.
Well, I'm not looking for that. I'm just telling you, there is a difference, you know, and because past town historians didn't do that kind of thing either. Anyway, all right, so I'll contact you. All right, I also want to remind you all that this is the commemorative years of the Civil War, quadricentennial, and bicentennial of the War of 1812. And you will see that I periodically put out posters or displays or whatever, information on those two particular commemorative events and this is under the promotion of the state of New York and the county and what have you. So periodically when I change, you'll see something about Civil War or the War of 1812. And along with that thought, I don't know if you guys are going to do anything special as a town board or as the town to celebrate these, that's the right word, to recognize these events. So far, to my knowledge, there hasn't really been anything in the town of any significance that absolutely positively was either the Civil War or the War of 1812. And so I don't know if and in any report that you'll see that I had to give to the county, they are asking, are we going to do anything, you know, to celebrate?
We could revise
Huh?
our ramble that we did in September.
Yes, right, but that's...
In it with a different theme.
That was their theme.
We could do a different theme. No, we could do a different one for the War of 1812.
And I may be belaboring this now, so excuse me, but I mean, I don't know if the town board, the town, or any other organization in the town really wants to get into an event that celebrates one or the other of, or commemorates, that's more the word, those two particular events. I don't know. Do you, Andy? You don't. You know, a few years ago, the Historic Society did a Civil War encampment. That was a few years ago, wasn't it? Anyway, but you will see that I will endorse those themes here in what I write or whatever.
I think you should mention that we saw part of Ken Hoadley's Arrowhead collection at our CAC meeting. You could segue right into CAC.
You can mention that, my dear.
Well, there it is.
I didn't write that one down, but there, yeah.
She was there. We both saw it. Stephen Perotti, who's coughing over there. We're able to see it, and we are looking as the CAC for a place and a time and location to exhibit them. So that's a very important part of our history, is that Ken Hoadley did amazing walks all over this property, and he found amazing treasure troves of arrowheads, particularly where all the tribes used to come together right behind South Amenia Presbyterian Church. So it was an amazing place, and I really see a lot of opportunities for us to know more about that amazing history.
We're still looking for a place. You're still looking for a place to...
Well, that's what, yeah. And we're looking for exhibits, cases.
I know it.
Glass
You're still doing it. You want me to
exhibit
check
cases.
over
Yes,
in
yes,
Kent
yes.
and...
Yeah, I found one already this size, but we need more.
Something you want to move here.
Or wherever we're going to have the
Yeah, okay.
exhibit.
I remember what
A
we were-
movable exhibit case that would secure the arrowheads so somebody coming to appreciate them couldn't also just quickly put them in their pockets. So it has to be something that is movable, temporary exhibit cases that would help secure, you know, more protection. So we're working on that.
Can we do something with the, you know, like on the town website or even a public access channel? You know, pop up these little tidbits, you know, this happened this month, and, you know, sort of
I
like,
put things once in a while, but not regular basis, and that's a good question, you know?
You know, like those little, you know,
Yeah,
Jeopardy
yeah.
facts, you know, that just pop up, and it gets people a little more interested in reading what's on a website or what's on the public access. I mean, I know there's a lot of websites that I go on with, you know, cars and everything, you know, check your snow tires, check the tires, and your, you know, something like that on the town website. If we could do
Be
something.
more interactive.
Little interactive, just a little tidbit. People can actually go on the website to see what happened this month in the town of Amenia. You know, that would be cool to do
Talking
something like that.
websites, you're talking, it's like Greek to me, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
we
not
gotta
that
get you
great on
someone that speaks
websites
Greek then.
and the level of technology you're talking about.
Well, maybe,
I don't think I am, anyway.
well, it would be just like a historical fact,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I used to
related
do
to
that on the
Amenia
calendars
that
that I
we could
used to
put
do.
on.
I used to put, and I
Yeah.
usually tied it in with the month, the time frame that it wasn't, you know, usually month by month is the way I usually do things, so to speak. Revolve on a month. But that's up to you. If you want something like that, I can put it together and you guys can.
We'll put it on the web. We'll put it on the web.
You approve it, obviously. You know, just submit it to you, Victoria, or whatever, and see if you want it on there. I can do something like, but it'll be Amenia, and it'll also be these two commemorative,
Of course.
that you'll
Absolutely.
see that periodically, if it's all right with you.
I think it's a wonderful
Town of
idea.
Amenia was very involved in all the history of this country, one way or another, to this day. History is yesterday, in my perspective, although we started 300 years ago, right?
To keep history going,
Day
you
by
gotta
day.
talk about it. So,
Pardon?
to keep history going, you have to talk about it.
Yes,
So,
that's right.
good.
And so I will, you know, I do write the column in the Millerton News, which they very nicely accepted, you know, because I was writing for the Hometowner. And so far, I've had pretty good vibes on that. But anyway, I'll keep that up. But I also want to let you know that I talked to Pomeroy Foundation that gave us money to have a historic marker down at the kilns, two beehive kilns, and that was taken care of with the cooperation of Mary Millette, myself, and Stanley and his highway department. We got that one put together. And so they say I can submit an application again for another marker in the town. And the Historic Society has been interested in having such a mark, which is like that up there, right over your heads, that at the steelworks down in the Wasaik. And so if it's all right with you, I'll go ahead with the paperwork on that and they defray the costs. It's usually, I didn't know, it was a little over $1,000. Town Highway has to install it, you know, and there has to be some cooperation, obviously, between, you know, myself and whatever, but there's no problem, should be no problem with that. But if it's okay with you,
Oh, it sounds like
I'll
a
go ahead
wonderful
with that,
idea.
right? There's also, you know, Smithfield Church is interested in that too, but I'll go on this one and we'll see how far we go. But this is under the Association of Public Historians of New York State. There's a tie-in with this foundation and that other organization. That's the way I read it anyway. So, and I talked to the executive director, so who did I talk to before? So I keep busy. But I did want to follow up on one thing here, the cemetery and the car that landed in the cemetery a couple of years ago. This is an automobile accident on McGatt Road. Did that ever, you know, Bill, did that ever get taken care of financially? I've talked to Historic Society about this, and they've brought it to my attention.
I'm not really sure of what you're asking, of what got taken care of, what was.
All right, seems to me this kind of information, well, I don't know how it travels through this. Take a look at this. This is my copy. I'll give you a copy, but I want that back,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Okay.
Gee.
There was a problem with paying,
The no repairs
The
have been made to the
insurance?
stone wall.
and this is through, right up here, what's his name?
Byron.
Uh,
Byron.
Byron.
Can I pass it around?
Sure.
I don't know, it sounds like something that's dragging on, and I'm just bringing it back up
Well, I'm glad you,
publicly.
yeah,
Made
I'm glad
it
you brought
more-
it to my
more-
attention.
More
'cause
aware of it, and maybe it's been taken care of, but
I don't know, I'll look into it.
Would you, yeah, Victoria, please? All right. But anyway, I guess, so I will give you a copy of my annual report, which I will attach my expenses. I don't attach them to the others.
Okay.
But it's just a summation of the vouchers I submitted, you know, so my budget line is $300, at least that's what it was. I don't know what you put in this year. And it's all right because most of it's a freebie anyway, like a lot of other people here do their freebies, right? I don't charge for gas, I don't charge for anything other than a few pieces of paper sometimes and some Scotch tape or glue. All right, thank you, and good luck.
I just quickly mention a few other things that we discussed at CAC, since we don't have anyone else there. No, you were there. At the end.
At the end.
Yeah. We also talked about the soil mining overlay district and looked over the maps about the permitted mines versus what is currently on the maps, zoning maps, and as regarding the overlay, and still working on that. We talked a little bit about the Thomas Young Park and doing some kind of interpretation there with cue cards. Basically, it would be very minimal infrastructure and just you would have your cell phone and you would hear different interpretations as you walked along the pathway. So that's something, a low budget item that we thought we could do and do some changing interpretation there about what this landfill was and what the new wildlife is doing and how the remediation took place and make it more of an outdoor nature experience once it opens to the public. We also talked about getting involved in Cornell Cooperative Extension's backyard bird-friendly corridor competition. So we're looking at getting neighbors who would be interested in connecting bird-friendly corridors so that, and so we're going to try and do that in Wassaic and hopefully add some interpretation there as well in a similar manner. I think that was the most, that's most of what we did, right?
I was only there briefly.
That's right.
We were after a long trip back from Albany. So. But the arrowheads that Mr. Reagan had shown you guys, it just was very fascinating to me. I think that's something. History is a very important thing, and you know, it's one of my favorite things. And people willing to share that with us is a benefit to everyone.
Are there any other committee reports? Okay, before we go on to contracts, we do have a resolution tonight. We have to approval of construction change order number 2 from Sevenson Environmental Services Incorporated on the Amenia landfill remediation project. 4. At a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia held at Amenia Town Hall on the 23rd day of January 2014 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti called the meeting to order and made the motion, and seconded by Councilwoman Fitzelberger, moved the following resolution to wit: whereas the Town of Amenia has entered into a contract with Sevenson Environmental Services dated March 13, 2012, to perform certain remedial construction work at the Amenia Town landfill located on Route 22 in the town, whereas the original contract price for the services provided by Sevenson is $4,644,879.50, Whereas as a result of a previous change order, the original contract price was increased to $4,943,044.70. Whereas Sevenson has presented the town board with construction change order number 2, dated January 16, 2014, a copy of which is attached hereto, pertaining to additional work performed or to be performed by Sevenson, the more significant items of which include additional waste excavation and backfill on the north and southeast sides of the landfill, where waste was encountered outside of the approximate limits of the landfill, and a credit to Sevenson for utilizing a geocomposite for the gas venting layer instead of 12 inches of sand underlain by geotextile. And whereas the additional work performed or to be performed by Sevenson was not included under the original contract for the reasons set forth in more detail in the attached construction change order number 2, whereas the requested net fee increase for the services contained in construction change order number 2 is equal to $264,825.02. Whereas the approval of construction change order number 2 would result in the increase of the original contract price as a result of construction change order number 2 and all previously approved change orders to $5,207,869.72. Whereas pursuant to the state assistant contract with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC is providing the funding for 75% of the eligible engineering and construction costs on the Amenia landfill project. And whereas the town board believes that the additional costs contained in construction change order number 2 will be eligible for funding under the state assistance contract with DEC, and the town will only be responsible for 25% of the additional costs as a result of construction change order number 2. And whereas the DEC has approved construction change order number 2 by email correspondence dated January 16, 2014, a copy of which is attached hereto. Whereas the town board has reviewed construction change order number 2, along with the supporting documentation attached hereto, and the approved email correspondence from DEC dated January 16, 2014. Whereas the town board has determined that the additional services provided by or to be provided by Sevenson in construction change order number 2 are necessary in order to complete the remediation of the old Amenia landfill. And whereas the town board has determined that it is in the best interest of the town to approve construction change order number 2 and to authorize the town supervisor to sign the same. Whereas the approval of a change order is a type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act and is therefore not subject to seeker review. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that the town board approves construction change order number 2 from Sevenson in the amount of $264,825.02, and it is hereby further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to sign construction change order number 2 in the form attached hereto on behalf of the town. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilwomen and councilmen voting as follows.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we have 3 contracts. The generator service contract that was discussed earlier for the fire departments and the water department. We also have a contract from Cedar and Company, who is a certified public accountant who assists the town bookkeeper in closing the financial records on an annual basis, preparing and filing the annual financial report, and also other activities. And I believe I gave you all a copy of that one. And in addition, I also have the contract for our special prosecutor, Gail Zelansing. So I would need authorization authorization from the town board to sign all these 3 contracts.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Actually, I haven't had a chance to read through all of them because I didn't get them until yesterday. And I'm kind of curious as to why, since some of them were received in December, we didn't get them until yesterday. So I can't vote on the contracts that I haven't read.
No, thank you. Councilwoman Doyle?
I said yes.
Councilman Brody?
Yes.
And Supervisor Brody?
Yes. Okay, we've gone over the open positions, and we've authorized the town clerk to advertise. Flag light, I believe we each have 3 estimates. This is something we've discussed before. It's what we've been looking to do since our flag flies 24/7. We want to have a light on the flag in the evening.
So it looks like the $250 is the low bid. I make a motion that we accept the low bid from Charles Dvorak for $250 to install the GFSI, go ahead and install the light for the flagpole.
I second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Brody?
Yes.
Supervisor Brody?
Yes.
I just have one thing with the flag. Maybe when the nicer weather comes, I understand we fly it 24 hours a day and that's the purpose of the light. But maybe when the warmer weather comes, if we could get the Boy Scouts and maybe some retired military and stuff like that, maybe get them to raise and lower the flag. So I just think it would be good to get some community involvement. Give maybe the Boy Scouts a little task to do. The retired vets, maybe we could go down to Tally Ho, see if there's anybody that's is interested in maybe raising and lowering the flag, just to get a little community involvement. It'll be something to look into.
Hey, Community Develop Block Grant, we applied for a Community Development Block Grant for additional handicap access to the town hall. We were not awarded a Community Development Block Grant this year. Special use permit for Tamarack Preserve. Ian, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Can you tell us why they didn't approve those?
They don't use, they just said, that there were, other projects that they thought were,
No hints on what we could have done better?
no, it's pretty much no.
Okay, thanks.
Tamarack Preserve has submitted a special use permit, or an application for a special use permit to construct 5 cabins on their property that apparently is a rod and gun club. They want to use these cabins to have members stay there and to be able to stay overnight. The reason that the application was made to the town board and not the planning board is that the Rod and Gun Club was issued a special use permit by the town board back in 1991. you have a provision in your town code, under section 121-10, that says that if there's any use that's not in the schedule of permitted uses, and it's not specifically prohibited under any other section of the code, that it can be allowed by the town board with a special use permit. I'm not sure exactly what transpired back in '91. I believe that predates your zoning law, but in any case, I think your zoning law is
Was back in
97. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it went way back, and we tried to update it in 1990s, but it didn't go that far. We
Okay.
got the comprehensive plan done, but not the zoning.
That would make sense. So I assume at the time that rod and gun clubs were not on the schedule of permitted uses. So therefore, they applied to the town board for a special use permit. That permit was granted. What they're doing now is looking to amend that permit to allow these cabins as an accessory use. So I looked at the application materials. There are some things that they need to provide. They need to provide an environmental assessment form. Their narrative, I think, needs some additional information. The narrative should set forth or respond to the criteria set forth in section 121-63 of your zoning law. I spoke to Dave Everett about this, and one thing he thought would be a good idea would be to refer the application to the planning board to consider environmental issues and the site plan application. Jurisdictionally, it's the town board that will have to issue, if it decides to do so, the amendment to the special use permit. And with that, you are required to review site plan application. But you can request comment from the planning board, which generally has more expertise in reviewing site plans. And, I looked at it, I think it's a major project under your zoning law. What that means is you're going to have to make referral to your zoning board of appeals. This property is on Route 44, which is a state highway. That means there's going to have to be referral to the county planning department on the site, or on both the site plan and the special use permit, or the amendment to the special use permit application. You will have to hold a public hearing, and that'll be held before the town board.
So what would be the first step we need to take?
We need to notify the applicant that they've not provided a complete application, so there's additional materials that need to be provided, namely
And can you do a letter and do that?
I can do that.
Okay.
Does the applicant, from how I understand this, the applicant is requesting that the town board gives the okay for them to move to the planning board?
No.
I mean, are we gonna handle this, or is the planning board?
It's gonna be handled by the town board. Okay, it was a special use permit that was issued by the town board back in '91, so the town board should hear the application to amend it. So what they're requesting to do is to amend the special use permit that allowed them to operate a rod and gun club, to allow them to construct these cabins or lodges, or these structures. There are 5 of them, and use them for lodging purposes as an accessory use to the Rod and Gun Club.
So in order for us to do that, we need additional information.
Correct, from the applicant.
Okay.
So I can provide a letter explaining what additional information you need.
Okay, and
Because
then,
they want to expand out, I mean, the 91 permit was for wooden shooting ranges,
Right, it's,
and that's the location that they want to build, or they just want to say because you gave us a special permit once, we want to try again.
well, what they're looking to do is basically expand their use or to include an accessory use to that use. So if you look at the special use permit that was issued in 91, it talks about the specific, I think they're all related to shooting and,
It's for a shooting range.
right. So that's to operate the gun club. This would be to construct cabins or lodges on the property. I don't believe they're on that same location. That's something to be discussed with the applicant as far as exactly where it's going to be, and that's going to need to be on their site plan application.
He's here, so maybe he could actually describe what he has in mind. That's Tim Bonacue, president. I have a basic map, but maybe you could just describe where these are going to be or show us the maps. That'd be great.
That's the whole property. Copies you will want.
That's great.
Okay. You all have the site plan on
We
that?
have that one, yeah.
Okay, so this roadway that comes in here.
Right, this is
X,
44, right?
This X marks the spot where the
Club-
this site plan is pictured.
Okay, okay.
Does anybody need any more?
And the clubhouse is there too?
Yes.
Okay,
Clubhouse is actually right there.
right there. Okay. Oh, there it
That's
is.
actually also on the site plan. If you look on the site plan, you see the clubhouse is here.
Okay, good, good.
You all can see that.
Do you have an extra copy of that?
Sure. Anybody else need it? I can leave them here. So this explains the actual clubhouse location, some of the ancillary barns. This is the driveway in that does go out to Route 44 after the top end of the property. Okay, so that comes in, and the X on this map indicates we're on the 800-acre piece.
You're not even going to see these cabins from the road.
That's correct.
Can we
Well,
get
that's even from
a, can we get a
anywhere
map for the, can we get a map for the town clerk?
Sure.
Sure.
Or she can have that one and I'll, oh, okay.
That one.
Oh,
This is, yeah.
that's the same
And this
one.
is actually, also shows the whole property, but I didn't know what you all needed, or
This is good.
Mr. Fenton just said, bring these and we'll go from there. So that's what we're trying to do. And this is because many of the other clubs in the area have lodging, and it is a disadvantage for us not to, but for transient use, it would only be primarily on weekends that people would come and utilize the cabins.
I
as
think
a
people would
basis.
love to hear that on the television. If you
Yeah.
could just recap that.
Sure. These are going to be for transient use. They're for members and guests of the Tamarack Preserve. They will be, we hope, utilized somewhat, but primarily in the winter and fall season. They're approximately 1,000 to 1,100 square feet in size, 1 and 2 bedroom. There are no kitchen facilities in them. They will have a basement area, a crawl space, and there are septic facilities indicated on the site map. I think two areas. So they will have water and heat, propane heat. We currently have a cabin that was built, we think, sometime in the mid-20s. That's down by the Thorns Dam. Some people know about it, and others don't, but it's been there a while. It's a nice old cabin, but we don't have any place and there's no power or water there, so there's no place for people to overnight. And we think it would be a great use to the club, and That's why we're coming to you all. And indeed, we don't know the process, so we're looking for help and guidance from you to understand how we can possibly achieve the goal. Do you have any other questions?
I'd just say this sounds like it fits with what I think we've all been talking about, which is economic development, which means they're going to come to town, they're going to stay in Amenia, they're going to come do different things, and I think the more accommodations we have, encouraging people to stay, recreate, and enjoy what we have, the amenities we have, in a way that doesn't detract. This is perfect, I mean, to me.
And some of the members have, over the years, come to enjoy the area, purchased homes in the area,
Right.
settled in the area. I think one reason is because it is a beautiful part of the world, we all know that, but also the amenities that are offered here. And I think utilizing the club and hunting is one factor that helps bring people to the area. So I think, Vicki, I think you're correct. I think that people will end up here. In fact, wasn't in the town of Amenia, it wasn't in the town of Washington, but he's going to close in 2 weeks on a home he just bought. It's because of his association with the club. He wanted a place nearby. So I think as people do spend more time in the area, they look around a bit more, and it's definitely a boon to the area.
Yeah, I think, we are going to, to study this, but we just need additional information, to move the process along.
I understand. Am I going to understand what that is from?
I can put that in a letter.
Okay.
The additional information you need to provide. The board has to go through seeker review, and so we'll need an environmental assessment form, which we can provide to you. You should fill out most of it.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the narrative needs a little more information, and I can point out in the letter exactly what that is.
Sure.
What additional information should be provided. And then we'll take it from there. So I can get the letter out in the next couple of days. I guess we'll wait for you to provide that and then put it on the agenda accordingly. And because once the process starts, there are some deadlines that are going to have to be followed once you have a complete application. There's a time period for holding a public hearing. There are going to be the necessary referrals to the county zoning board of appeals, and the referral to the planning board is not required under your zoning law, but the board may find that to be a good idea to get their input on this.
I did want to point out that the access road to the site where the cabins are going to be joins the private road that accesses the club. It does not join a public road, as this shows, I think, on the site plan.
But the property does border on Route 44?
Yes, we do have frontage on Route 44.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, because Route 44 is a state road.
But wouldn't the existing site plan or permit cover, and we've been there since '92, operating a hunting and fishing club
Yeah,
with the
it's
same.
not that you're, doesn't have to do with what's covered under the existing permit.
Okay.
It's just
Because
this application.
Because we're amending it.
Under the general municipal law, there's certain applications that if the property is within 250 feet or 500 feet of a boundary to another municipality or a state park or state or county highway, then you have to make referral to the county planning department. It's just required under the statute. And because this is a major project, based on the size of the structures you're going to be constructing, this is a major project under the town zoning law. So that requires you to make the referral to zoning board of appeals. Those other agencies don't need to, or boards don't need to necessarily do anything, but they do have the right to comment. And so the town board just has to give them that opportunity.
The site is to be left as intact as possible and still meet the town requirements. I think the access road can't be more than 12-degree pitch. It has to be 18 feet wide, et cetera, so I think all of that will require some, but the actual roadway may change ever so slightly because there's trees we're trying to save. And so they weren't accounted for on the original engineering. They didn't put in individual trees, but we may move it 6, 8, 10 feet one way or another to try to save a more mature oak tree.
If that's not reflected on the site plan, it needs to be. You have to, if you're going to be changing the location of the access road or the elevation and the slope, you should reflect that on the site plan.
Well, I mean, other than okay, we'll do the best we can.
Okay.
I don't know that we're going to be able to identify every tree, but
I think the best thing to do is get the list from the
You
lawyer,
bet.
what we need.
Yeah.
I do feel, as a town board, we should be here to help you in this process, and, you
Thank
know,
you.
get the information that you need, and let's work together on this and do what we do to get it done, you know, if
Thank
it's
you.
possible. So that, you know, the first step is to get the information, and we'll go through the information. I think it's the best thing to do.
thank you very much. Do you?
Are you just proposing to cut down trees, or are you going to be changing the location of the access road?
We're trying to save as many mature trees as we can to make the site is not visible from off the property, period, from any other property. And we're trying to leave it as much in the same manner that it is now as possible. So we'd like to leave bigger trees. We don't know exactly what we're going to find in the way of rock and other things when you go to put an access road in, but we're trying to leave as many of the trees as possible.
Okay.
So I mean, it's going to be basically where you see it, but it might move a foot to the left or 2 feet to the left. And
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about altering the entire thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you really want to preserve the natural beauty of
As
the
much as
area.
possible.
The whole point of going up there and being part of
Correct.
that.
So we're trying to leave everything as much as we can the way it is and still comply.
So then I'll get you a letter, get the town board the information that's needed, and then the application can be put on another agenda for a town board meeting. And then at that meeting, we'll make the referrals, review the documents, determine whether or not it's complete, and then from that point, you'd have to make a referral, schedule a public hearing, go through seeker.
So you can let us know if it's complete, and then if
Right.
we're ready to take the next steps.
Correct.
Okay.
Which, you know, so, you know, we're ready to do that as soon as we have all the additional information.
Very good. Any other questions from me? Thank you very much.
I believe we need to do an advertisement for the summer concession.
I pulled the old RFP for the concession stand that we used in 2012. The only thing I was not able to find was the advertisement that we used announcing that an RFP was, so that I have to dig, we're going back to 2012 to see if I still have it in my computer.
Okay.
So that'll, can't guarantee that it'll go into tomorrow's newspaper.
That's the notice that you use?
Yeah, there was a notice that we put in the newspaper that announced that we were now accepting.
I can see, I don't know if we prepared that or not.
You did, Mike did.
Okay, then I,
2012, I can give you I can even give you the copy of this. It was March of 2012, so I would
Yeah,
think it was
so I
in
can-
February
I-
2012.
I'll try to email it to you tomorrow. So.
Okay, then.
So what is that, accepting bids for the concession stand?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're requesting for proposals for
You have to
if anyone's
advertise it.
interested. What I'll do is I'll scan this and then circulate it to the board so you kind of knew what we were doing in 2012. It's been the same individual the past 2 years since then, because prior to that it was the firehouse and it wasn't.
And at the Recreation Committee meeting, we had a person do a presentation for interest in taking over the concession stand. But, we need to advertise it, allow others that might want to take on that responsibility to be able to go and express their interest and meet with the Recreation Committee and the board.
Is there any other public comment?
Go ahead.
Hello, Kevin Cassone, Amenia. First, I want to thank Gabriel for that very kind correction. I think you all know me. I might get frustrated, but I would never use language like that. The word was possibilities. I was talking about possibilities. I don't know how that got confused with something else for any of you who read the article. But thank you, Gabriel. It was very kind and generous of the Milton News. I pay all my bills electronically. I go to my post office box about once every 10 days or so. Did the town try to send me something by certified mail? Because I went last Wednesday, I went today, and I found out that there was something that was trying to be delivered to me certified mail, and they had already retracted it and sent it back. And I still haven't received it. So was this the county trying to send me something via certified mail, or was the town sending me something? Because I'm here now. If you're trying to send something to me, you can just hand it to me. But yes, no, anything?
Well, the order of remedy was sent to you by certified mail from John Fenton.
Okay, is that the same thing that was the Board of Health? Was that just a reiteration of that Board of Health order?
Yes.
Well, I still haven't received it. Do you have a copy of that? Is there a physical copy of that in this building that can be handed to me while
Well,
I'm here?
if you go to John Fenton's office, he could give it to you.
Okay.
But he's sent it twice. He sent it regular mail and then he sent it certified.
Well, regular mail I would have received, so, okay. So he just sent it again certified, so it's what I already have.
Well, he sent it twice.
Okay, well, if you sent it regular mail, then I got it. Okay, which is just, okay. So, a couple of corrections. Board of Health, County Board of Health, as usual, because they're just ideologues, are wrong. My only two options aren't putting in an RPZ or decommissioning the well. I can just disconnect. First of all, well water does not mingle with town water at any point, nor has it for 40 years. There's a valve. They're disconnected. My third option is disconnecting, severing the two. Once there is no link between my well and the town water, it's not the concern of the Board of Health, because it's not a public health issue, and it's not a concern of the water district. Now, I'm not establishing a well, to keep putting verbiage like that in it. I'm not establishing a well. It's been in existence long before the water district was established. We're going back 40 years. So I'm not establishing anything. And once the two are disconnected, then it's no longer a concern of the water district, this town, or the county Board of Health, period. That was the third option that was laid out to me when the water officer was on my property. Right, Marco? You told me I could just disconnect the two.
So what I said, Kevin, was the matter's out of my hands and has to be reviewed by the county.
Well, that's not what you said. The whole thing was recorded. As usual, I get an obfuscation from this man. You couldn't tell the truth of it. I put $1 million on the table and said it's your money.
Excuse me, you're out of order.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You are not in a position to tell me when or when I am not out of order.
Yes, I
You are not
am.
the arbiter of what is correct speech. I mean completely
You
in
are out
order.
of order. You
I
are
asked him
not
a
to be
question.
shouting to anyone in the audience when you're at public comment. Never.
Listen, employee, when people stand behind this podium, your bosses are speaking to you. I am completely within order.
No, you're not.
I am completely within order.
No, you are not.
Oh, so you shouldn't shout at other people?
I'm not
You're gonna
shouting. I'm telling
apologize
you
to-
that
You have shouted in the past.
you have no right
You
to
ha-
speak to other people in the audience and harass them when you're doing
Harass
public
them?
comment.
I asked him what he said. He bull-faced lied. I'm going to call him a liar when he lies. I have his whole time on my property is recorded. And he gave me 3 options. And one of them was disconnecting it. Now we just have him, and I hope it was picked up by the microphones, telling me, no, I don't have that 3rd option. I'm sick of this. Now, and this goes far beyond even a water district issue. One, you love screaming at people when it serves your purposes. And if I need to come up here and remind you of the meetings and the dates when you like to talk over people, I'll bring them up. I'm sure people would like to remember those dates and how you love to talk over people. You are not the arbiter of what is proper or improper speech. You never have been, and you never will be, and dear God, don't ever lecture me about that again. You have not the competence nor the experience to tell me what is and isn't proper speech. Never is that a subject for you. Now, I'm not coming to town hall. Why you guys can't send me a letter and put it into my hands is unbelievable to me. This is gamesmanship. Well, we'll send it, we'll rescind it, we'll give you this one, we'll give you that one. I have 30 days. Didn't we have, again, tonight, didn't we have somebody who was cited in November and they just finished complying? Everybody else gets months. You cannot apply the law arbitrarily.
Kevin, have you talked to John Fenton? Because that's who you need to work with.
Well,
John will give you the letter. He'll talk to you. He'll work out a date, a time. He works with people every day with their
yeah, but
violations.
He's not the Board of Health. I'm excited by the Board of Health.
Start with John. John.
Okay,
He's your man.
fine. Everybody knows my phone number. Everybody knows how to reach me. When the water district wants money, they seem to know my phone number then. When they want to reach me for money, they can always find me. When it's on this, we get all this gamesmanship about letters coming and going and being rescinded. Everybody else had months. And I want to let the taxpayers know your own contracted water officer is getting the town fined. I'm not being fined, but like I said at the last meeting, the town's going to be fined starting January 30th. All the taxpayers are going to have to pay a fine. Chris, can you pass me that water? I'm getting horrible dry mouth. The town is going to be fined, and everybody else is going to have to pay for that. Why our own contract? Thank you so very much. So polite of you. Why our own contracted water official? Excuse me, please. Is getting our town fined? Is reporting our own town when I was willing to completely work with him and comply completely is beyond me. Secondly, you all voted to let our water contractor be on the water committee. Now, I don't know that you just had his name on there because he's a liaison, but I don't know how somebody can be a contractor for the town and be their own oversight. How can a contractor, Marco D'Antoni is that person, he can serve on any committee he wants, but as a contractor and the water committee is oversight for his contracted services, how can he be his own oversight? How can he serve on the water committee and then also be paid by the water committee? I think that is a dictionary definition of a conflict of interest. And you need to take him off the water committee. I don't even know how you could let that slip by you and vote that in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris.
Just for correction, the water committee does not pay my bill. The town of Amenia, town board pays my water bill, or pays my annual salary, and monthly salary. The committee is just that, a committee. And it always has been me on the committee has nothing to do with my contract. We don't discuss contractual obligations. It is a technical expert on the board. May Jones is the chair, just for the record.
If Marco doesn't attend our meetings, we would not know what's happening in the water district. So it is important that he attends our meetings. He doesn't give any comments. He just sticks to his job. And the committee makes the decisions.
Thank you.
Tom would like to make public comment. Tom, Warner? He raised his hand.
Well, it's fine, we're still doing public comment. For anybody who'd like to make public comment. That's why I put it at the end, too.
May I speak? Yes, sir.
Certainly.
Right. We have two major issues here. One of them is you didn't allow any discussion on the landfill,
What discussion?
on the the money that's going to be paid.
The change order?
Yeah.
What discussion did you,
I have.
Did you have a
reference
question?
To the fact that they drained the lake that we were going to use for the park. They took out 2 dams, which I've never heard anybody say anything about, and drained the lake. It's not completely, but it is drained, probably a third or 2/3 the water level that's down. We wanted to ask, you awarded a contract to the same firm that is doing the rail trail.
no. That's doing, what does the rail
What
trail
is it,
have to do?
CIS or I'm not.
Sevenson is the
Sevenson
contractor.
is the
Sevenson.
contractor.
For the remediation of the landfill. Sevenson.
Okay, but the park.
That's the park, will be the park.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that there were some things in the original contract that haven't been fulfilled, that you're fixing to pay these people, and it hasn't been fulfilled yet. I realized that the large stones that they took out because it was necessary. Now, we would like to use those stones back in on the site and place them around the vent pipes that's standing up out there, like every other landfill has. And
The
they're
large
horrible.
stones are still on the site.
I know, but the contractor said that he wouldn't take those in, wouldn't move them and put them around those stands.
Around the
Like-
vents?
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether you appointed a committee or haven't appointed a committee, but.
No, he's following DEC regs at this point, so he's
I'm
following DEC and our contractor just to do what absolutely needs to be done for the remediation. The money that we're paying is only for the remediation at this point. So any enhancements, some nice rocks or, meadows or whatever improvements, that has to be done at the town taxpayers' expense once this contractor is done. He is only doing what is absolutely required for remediation.
Okay, well, it's not a major thing to move the stones, but it would enhance the beauty of the thing. And while he's got all the equipment there, we'd certainly like to see it done. And
So, some of the things they're doing, like you said, according to DEC requirements or regulations. So I don't know that they can do that. That
well,
may not be
I
permissible.
know that there were certain things, not just putting the seeds on top of the ground, that were required.
They put some rocks along the edge to prevent people from driving up onto the field, and we approved that. But I don't think we're allowed to use
Well, it's
DEC money to
70%.
do anything that's aesthetic, just for specific aesthetic reasons. I mean, that's my understanding of what Liz Rovers is saying. If anything just is purely aesthetic or for nature or for recreational post-use, that's the town, we'll have to pay for that 100% ourselves.
Possibly not if it was in the original contract, but I'm not privy to that contract, so, you know, I thought it needed a little discussion, but you didn't. You felt like that it's finished and you don't have anything else.
It's not finished. I mean, we're still doing some work, but all the work that's being agreed upon in that contract was only expenses that were absolutely necessary
Okay, well,
as a Superfund
as
site to
concerned,
clean
it's
up the environmental
absolutely
issue.
necessary to cover those pipes, so, but they may not
They're
see
doing
the
what
same
they
thing.
feel. DEC is doing what they think absolutely has to be done, because they're paying 75% of the costs. So they're not doing any of our fun things that we'd like to do ultimately with it. The contract specifically, at this point, only covers what is absolutely needed for remediation of the environmental disaster that was
I mean, what might be
there.
helpful, Mr. Warner, is, you know, write down your concerns, get them to us, and we'll check into it for you.
Okay, that
You know,
would
I
be
think that would
great.
be the best way to handle it. Write your concerns down, get it into us, and we'll look into it for you. And we'll have an exact answer instead of speculation.
Okay, I don't remember what the girl's name was, a girl. The
Liz.
woman that did we hired.
It's Liz
in it.
Rovers. Liz Rovers at
Okay.
CT Mail.
Wasn't she supposed to check all of these things?
Mm-hmm. She's in charge of the project, yeah.
And she has signed off on
She will be.
everything you passed tonight? Okay.
Yes, it came from her.
Now, coming along to the 5 houses that Alan Shoup wants to put up on his game reserve up there. Is it gonna be tax-free as it is now?
I think you're talking about Tamarack Preserve, not
Yes.
Allen Shope.
Well, excuse me.
So
The one
it's
in
not
the thing,
tax-free.
as
Those
far
will
as I
be
know.
improvements that will add to the tax value of their 800 acres, and we will collect taxes that are owed for those improvements.
As a nonprofit, they don't.
They're
pay
not a
tax.
nonprofit, they're a for-profit.
Unfortunately, we are nonprofit, we're not trying to.
They're trying to be less
I
nonprofit.
sympathize with you on that same boat.
But you do pay taxes, you're not tax exempt.
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, all that I'm trying to find out is if you approve this, could these 5 structures be 5 hotels? Or are they restricted?
They're 1,000 square feet to 1,100 square feet in size.
Is all of that in your request?
It is, it's in the application.
Okay.
And it's transient use, I don't know what you call it, lodging, I would guess, I'm not sure.
Visitors, they're visitors to, right? They're
Members of
temporary
the club
visitors.
would come and stay the night, have a dinner and do hunting and fishing.
Yeah, well, it's inconceivable for me to think that you would leave the planning board out when nobody else can build a house without going through the planning board. And I don't know whether this would require that you subdivide it.
I don't think so. They've got 800 acres. It's, you know what I
I
mean?
don't care if it's 8,000 acres.
You want them to subdivide?
Well, it's a little premature. We're gonna get the application in, we'll go over the application, and, you know, when these questions arise, we'll answer them.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
Yeah, I think that'd be
if
the
you
best.
want to build a house, you're going to have to do something.
No, I agree.
But these people don't.
No, we'll get the
Yes, they do.
application, and
They
we'll
have to
look
do
at the
planning.
application.
They're gonna have to go through the same process as everybody else.
All right, that was what I wanted to hear.
It's a major project. They have to go through more than the average homeowner, because the average homeowner isn't doing 5 houses at a time.
Well,
You know what I mean?
know your association with this, so let's don't go that way.
Well, it
Those-
doesn't
those are-
matter. The rules are the rules for everybody.
Okay, I can't build on my property, you know, without doing it. So I don't know that they should be able to do it either.
Well, we'll see once we get through the process. We don't have all the information right now to even start anything.
Well, I realized that the meeting's gotten rather testy, so to speak, prior to me, but just wish that there would be one set of laws. And if, thank you.
Town board comments?
Wanted to welcome Monique Montaigne and Annette Culligan to the secretaries, to the supervisor's office. I want to just say I'm sorry to see both Sherry and Mary move on, but I wish them the very, very best. Both are excellent, and they did a great job for the town of Amenia.
Anyone else?
We have a couple things coming up, that we've been dealing with for a while. The heating and the cooling at the town hall. There's a lot of big things coming up. The highway garage, I think as a town board, we should get an order of priority, so we could start picking off these things one by one, moving them to different phases and different, stages of getting them done.
Well, actually, we're in the information gathering stage right now.
Yes, we are. It's just on some of the things, that I've been working on, I am on a little impasse. I'm not familiar with the state bid and stuff like that. So, input would be nice from the board members about, how do we proceed? Are we at the point of getting engineer reports yet and stuff like that?
Right.
I think just on that point is the state bid website, which I believe is a very useful exercise. You can go straight to that. Instead of getting 3 bids, you just already go to the state bid website and it's already meets all the qualifications. New York State OGS.
Yeah, but before the state bid, you have to have a plan.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because the plan has to be bid on, it has to be the same plan for everybody to bid on.
I'm just saying if you're trying to find a picnic table or a set of swings or something, you can go to them and.
I know that I attended, all of us attended Gretchen and Michael and Victoria and Dawn Marie. We attended the new officers conference up at the Desmond for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I can tell you, we all of us were able to get a great deal of useful information that'll help the town of Amenia run more efficiently and help us do a better job of serving the taxpayers. A lot of material, a lot of stuff to sift through, and very looking forward to applying what I've learned from this conference.
I believe there's a pork dinner at the South Amenia Church this Saturday. So if anyone's like a good hot dinner, that would be, and want to help support the church, that would be the place to go. We're going to have to schedule a special meeting next week to approve the 2 abstracts from 2013 and 2014 for the vouchers. The vouchers are going to be keyed in this weekend, and that would be to approve them so that I would be able to go ahead and pay the claims before month end. So I didn't know if there was a day that was better for anyway toward the end of the week.
Next week.
Yeah, be either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Thursday and Friday are out for me.
Me too, but Wednesday's looking good.
Wednesday's good for me also.
Tuesday would work.
Wednesday at 7:30.
That would work.
Tuesday would be better for me.
I have dental until 5, but you don't get in until 7:30. I could do Tuesday just as easily. Tuesday night?
Tuesday's fine with me.
Tuesday's fine with me.
So Tuesday at 7:30?
Yeah, I can move some stuff around.
Does that work? Okay. It'll be a short meeting, just so you can go ahead and pay the vendors this month. And does anyone have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay.
My comment tonight, of course, is regarding the water law. One of my objections to the water law was that the notification rights of the customers aren't specifically laid out. The incident with my property confirmed what I initially thought and what I've been hearing from customers in Water District as I went through the campaign process. I strongly believe that people who work in town government, who work for the town, should be assisting our citizens in our community, not pulling what amounts to essentially a bait and switch, in my opinion. We should be notifying people when there are problems, because if we do not work with the people in community, things can quickly spiral. The water department needs to work with its customers and not against them. The Board of Health has made this a town fine and not an individual fine. I don't really understand why the water department wanted to push it this way when conversations could have alleviated any problems. It makes no sense to me. They could have sent him an email, they could have called, they could have spoken to myself or Kevin in the hallways of this building or at any event, but that didn't happen. They could have been honest about what needed to be checked and what remedies should be, but there was no response to the customer regarding their concerns. It seems as though the board was more interested in playing games instead of working with the community. Regarding our property, I guess it should be noted publicly now that our old well system is not integrated with our house water system. The systems are not connected. There's a dead pipe that lies between the two of them.
Mrs. Chairman,
But there was no mention by the Department of Health or the Building Department on how to preserve the historic feature of our property. No mention of the option to just cut the dead pipe that lies between them. This third option that the customer was seeking in his public comment. In my opinion, this type of attack amounts to suppression of voter rights of all those who voted for me and trying to make me be quiet about such things, denial of my free speech, and intimidation of a council person. This is my opinion. I'm not going to stop working to do what's right for this community. I didn't spend hours going through the water systems, billing, and software just to bring solid results to a department that's losing money for our town with a failing infrastructure that needs to be replaced, and I won't buckle under to what I feel is intimidating gamesmanship. And that's all I have to say on the topic, and I thank you for your time.
I also have one more thing. I did get a copy of the contract that we entered into in 2012 with EBM, with Jonathan Harkness, who was, I believe, given a retainer of $2,500 to help us solve our long-term energy needs here at Town Hall. He would like a date next week to talk to me and Victoria next week. And Victoria, do you have a date that we could meet with him? He's pretty flexible next week. You know, maybe we could do it on that Wednesday night, for instance.
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like at 5 o'clock?
Yeah, that would
We'll just
work.
have a fine, okay, that sounds good. And then we'll report back as to where he's at with that. He needed some more information and is still considering all the different options for alternative energy. He's considering the upfront cost, but also the cost and savings of all different types of energy. So he specializes in this sort of thing, handling large buildings such as this, and he's an engineer.
Interesting.
Yeah. And did I forward that to everybody? The contract? I'll forward to you the contract so that we all know what that is. Okay.
Okay, and then we can report back on where we are with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we've heard anything on.
Yeah,
Haven't had any update for quite a long time.
I spoke to Darlene, and they had something, she and Bill were on that committee, so I just got myself up to speed, but he wants to, go back and revisit the whole thing at this point, the different options he has in mind.
Is there any other business? If
Just
not,
the heat.
the what?
I got a notice in email earlier that the HEAP program for heating, assistance with heating, they're offering additional funding for people who need more money for heat because of the cold. Victoria will send it to you, and I guess we can get it up on the website and out so people who need that type of information can get it.
And if anyone needs additional information besides assistance with home heating oil with the cold, I just want to make sure that people know that they could call 211, which is a general information number if you're having any problem with no heat in your home. They will, that particular number will, put you in touch with the appropriate agencies to help you. Is there any other business? If not, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Councilman Delano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Henselberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?